Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Social Blueprint interview. Friends, there is so much divisiveness in the world right now, so much polarization. It really is, frankly, not nice. But I'm going to flip it on its head. I want to focus on what brings us together, not only here in Australia, but anywhere in the world. I want to focus on the things that make people tick everywhere. And that's what Jonathan Wenig is here today to talk about, because he is the founder of All Things Equal, which is bringing people together, giving people a shot at satisfaction, competitiveness, and a feeling of purpose in their life. And as I mentioned, that is a human trait anywhere. And Jonathan, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm always glad to talk about All Things Equal.
Great.
That's great.
Hey, Jonathan, how did you get involved with All Things Equal?
Well, the story starts personally. So I've got 3 children. My youngest child, Tully, has autism. And she's now 21, just thinking. She's now 21. And so, about 18 months ago, my wife and I were sort of thinking about the future, as all parents do for their kids.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, correct. And so, she was finishing her schooling.
Right.
And we had to try to work out, well, what comes next? And I know that's a question that every parent asks for their child. I think it's particularly acute for a child with special needs.
Right.
Because they don't have the same coping strategies, because I think the opportunities are fewer. And so we were sort of scouring. We were looking for programs generally, but also, as most parents would do, we thought about, well, what does Tully like to do? Where are her strengths? So where might the opportunities lie? And Tully has always had an affinity for cooking.
Right.
She's loved it. So she was at Mount Scopus in primary school. The kitchen garden program was really a wonderful opportunity for her, not only to get into the kitchen, but also it was wonderful in terms of sort of connective tissue between her and her classmates. And then later at Giant Steps, she had the opportunity to do some TAFE courses at home. So anyway, so this was the thing. And so we thought, well, how can we find an opportunity for her to do that? Also focused on independence, also focused on something that may constitute or might lead to employment.
Right.
So I know something about some things. I know very little about food or cafes. So I talked to people in my network, and I actually had a client who owns a bunch of cafes and restaurants, and I spoke to him, and he said, oh yeah, well, I can find an opportunity here or in this place or in that place. But he said to me, he thinks that it really needs to be a curated opportunity,
Right.
in order to really provide the environment that's going to allow Tully and others like her to flourish.
Right.
And so, still not knowing anything about cafes, I spoke to friends, talked to people, tapped people on the shoulder, and we started to try to create something.
Right. Amazing. And can I ask, at All Things Equal, it is not only for people with just special needs, and that's very important to you, I know.
It's very important. So, All Things Equal, I think we currently employ 17 young people with disability,
Right.
and about an equivalent number who don't have a disability. And that was really important to us. You mentioned in the intro, sort of providing people with a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And I think a job really does that. A job is about money, but it's not just about money. It gives meaning to people's lives. But the other thing we were quite focused on is, well, I could use the label inclusion, but more simply, it's often the case that a job is one of the key drivers of social connection for human beings.
Absolutely.
And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to create an employment opportunity where that would also provide people with social connection. We wanted to create an opportunity where, rather than taking people with disability and having them shredding documents or doing something in a back room, we wanted them out front and center in the community, and with that opportunity to interact. And I think that's what a lot of the employees with disability really love about the cafe, is that they get to be out there, they get to be really proud of what they're doing, they get to show that pride to all the people who walk through the door. And I think it's really great.
Yeah, and also adding to that, I think the feeling of satisfaction and purpose that you mentioned, there's something incredibly gratifying when you do something well,
Yeah.
when even, especially if it's hard. And I think that for a lot of kids, that is incredibly hard to find, and that's what you're providing.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to add is, and I just thought about this now, in a workforce, we come into contact with so many people that, frankly, if we met them on the street, we would never be friends with them, but we end up being very, very friendly with that person. Is that a similar type of phenomenon you're finding as well?
Totally. I think friendship is often just about shared experiences. Spending time together, doing things together, that's really the building blocks of friendship. Now, sure, having similar interests helps and all of that. But yeah, when you come to work and you spend time with people and they see you when you're up and they see you when you're down and you manage to achieve satisfaction or achieve things together, that I think those are the building blocks from which friendships are made.
Absolutely. And talking about building blocks, you've had success so far, but I know you have a much bigger vision in mind. Please talk about it.
Yeah. So I'll start with your comment that we've had success so far. I mean, from our perspective, we certainly had success. We got open, we lived through lockdown, and we managed to come out the other side. But I don't think that success is assured. I think sort of one of our primary objectives is making sure that Carlisle Street, the initial cafe, can be sustainable, can be financially viable. I don't think hospitality is an easy industry at the best of times. So we're still really focused on getting the basics right and making sure that this thing isn't going to be a flash in the pan, but can continue long term. Some of the things we're really excited about are some partnerships we've struck up just in the last little while. Yeah. So partnered with Ajax. We run the canteen at Ajax Footy on a Sunday morning at Princes Park, which is wonderful. And actually some other clubs, I won't mention the names, that use Princes Park on other days of the week have also said to us, we've been struggling to find someone to run the canteen for us. Would you do that? So, one opportunity leads to others. And the other partnership, which we haven't formally announced yet, but it's sort of public and we're talking about it, is we've struck up a partnership with Jewish Care.
Right.
So at Jewish Care's Windsor facility, which has been, I suppose, closed to everyone for the last 2 years, but they've got a brand new cafe space there. And the partnership with Jewish Care is going to see us employ more people with disability and run that cafe space within their facility. And there's opportunity to partner further because they've got lots of other facilities and the opportunity is there for us to run those too, which is just wonderful. I mean, one of the tragedies of what we've done is that without trying, without advertising at all, we have a waiting list of over 60 people with disability who would love a job.
And what's also important is that right now, so many people know it's so hard to find help.
Yeah.
So if you can find your niche, you can really satisfy it. And as you said, you're already expanding into the canteens, into Jewish Care, and it's highly likely there are other facilities of similar kin. Yeah,
listen, I hope so. I hope so. And listen, this is a big city. There are lots of people with disability. I've started from a Jewish communal lens, but I think our vision is a lot broader than that. I think it's community more broadly that we want to have an impact on.
Yeah, and as I said in the intro, everybody wants to have a purpose in life. I don't care where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Jonathan, we'd want to keep it short. Do you have any closing remarks for people to know?
Well, I hope I could just do a free plug. So I suppose my closing remark would be come into the cafe in Carlisle Street. I think it's a great space. I think it's a really beautiful, happy environment. And the very best way that people in the community can help is to come and buy coffee or have something to eat because, that makes it all worthwhile. That brings meaning to the people who are working there. And more broadly, if you have other ideas for us, other ways that you think you can help, we are all ears and we'd love to hear about them. And we want to do more. We want to open more cafes and open more places, provide more opportunities because it's just all upside. It's just all, it's all good stuff that we're really happy to be a part of.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'll be grabbing a coffee in about 25 minutes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.